Radio fading under static. Southbound again. Stop near the state line. Truck stop half lit in the fall. Coffee tasted old and bitter, like it'd been sitting there for hours. Woman behind the counter barely looked up when I paid. Neon buzzing near the ice machine, somewhere behind the wall. A man asleep in the corner booth, cap pulled down past his eyes. TV glowing without sound, blue light across the floor. Rain kept dragging down the windows, wipers moving slow and tight. Every mile started looking like the one before. Thought about calling your number, held the phone a while and set it back beside the cigarettes without saying much. Cold air leaking through the door frame, hands stiff around the wheel. There are nights the highway feels so long it doesn't seem real anymore. Another night near the state line, another town going dark behind me. Radio singing through the static, like it almost knew my name. Southbound through the heavy rain, dashboard glowing soft and pale. Everything's still moving forward except whatever I came here to lose. Your scarf still on the passenger seat, smelling faintly like smoke. I keep meaning to throw it out, never really do. Some preacher talking through the static, then an old slow blues song, low baritone guitar humming underneath the storm. Parking lot full of standing water, fluorescent lights shaking in the puddles. Dog asleep beside the diesel pumps, never even raised its head. No big answers waiting out here, just headlights and bad weather. Coffee gone cold beside the seat, and miles that keep unfolding. Another night near the state line, another empty roadside station, neon floating through the rain, like a memory not sitting right. Southbound under low black clouds, hands locked tight around the wheel. Trying not to think about you, somewhere past Amarillo now. Rain easing off a little, radio almost gone. while the highway rolled on. Tape hiss, engine hum, rain against the glass. The engine ticked for a while. After I shut it down, rainwater sliding off the hood onto the empty parking lot. Somewhere nearby, an ice machine kept humming. The motel sign flickered again. Blue lights shaking in the fall. Room 7 smelled like wet denim and cigarettes trapped in the curtains. The woman at the front desk was watching some old game show rerun. She pushed the key across the counter without saying much at all. There was burnt coffee in the lobby next to a stack of local maps, and somebody laughing through the wall before everything went quiet again. The motel sign flickered again outside the half-closed blinds. Rain shining under the parking lot of lights, while trucks rolled somewhere past the highway. I sat there a while without moving, just listening to the air conditioner rattle and the neon buzzing off and on near the edge of the roof. My boots left water on the carpet beside the bed and metal chair. There was a number written on the lampshade, faded almost out of sight. The radio barely held a station, static drifting through old country songs. One voice disappearing into another, like towns passing after midnight. I thought about calling somebody, but it would have turned into a long conversation. So I let the cigarette burn slowly in the motel ashtray. Around 4:30 in the morning, a freight train moved somewhere south of town. The sound stayed low against the rain and slowly disappeared. For a minute, the room didn't feel quite so empty. The motel sign flickered again, blue reflections across the window. Coffee gone cold near the television, Smoke hanging over the nightstand lamp. The highway still moving somewhere outside. Tires hissing through leftover rain, and the radio playing soft enough to almost fall asleep too. The motel sign flickered again right before the sky turned gray. I watched the light fade against the wall till morning finally took the color with it. Low baritone guitar, soft pedal steel, tape hiss, rain against the motel window. Rain slowing down outside, ice machine humming somewhere down the hall. Truck stop coffee burned my tongue a little. Woman at the register didn't say much when I walked in. Just pushed the cup across the counter without looking up. Yellow light buzzing overhead like it hadn't slept in days. There was an empty glass beside the register, lipstick fading near the rim. Somebody must have left in a hurry or got tired of waiting around. My jacket smelled like highway rain and old cigarettes from Amarillo. Water dripping off my boots on the cracked black tile. No country station kept fading in and out through static. I let it play anyway. Couple truckers near the window, half asleep in dirty cabs. Nobody trying too hard to start a conversation. Glass beside the register, neon shaking on the floor. 4:30 in the morning, and the coffee's gone cold again. Headlights sliding past the window, then disappearing southbound. Felt like everybody in that place was trying not to think about something. I kept your number in my wallet folded soft at the corners. Thought about calling once, then watched the rain instead. The waitress wiped the same spot twice without even noticing. Outside the parking lot stayed wet and silver under those pale motel lights. No big ending to any of it, just tired hands, a paper cup, and silence sitting down beside me. Empty glass beside the register, last shift dragging toward dawn. Blue light trembling through the smoke from the back door near the ice machine. Radio static, coffee stained southbound trucks out on the highway. I stayed longer than I needed to, just resting my eyes a while. Sky turning charcoal gray, rainwater drying on the windshield. I paid the bill, picked up my keys, and walked back into the cold. Better told. Better told, drifting slowly. Tape hiss, fluorescent hum. Distant highway tires fading into rain. Bartender shut the jukebox off. Chairs upside down by the wall. Somebody coughed near the kitchen. Then the room went quiet. I stood outside beneath the beer sign, watching water run along the curb. My lighter barely worked in that damp midnight air. Smoke hanging in my jacket, keys pressed cold in my palm. The parking lot looked washed out under those low southern clouds. Southbound beneath low clouds, radio humming through static, city lights falling behind me, one by one. Coffee stain on the passenger seat, receipts sliding near my boots. Rain moving slow across the windshield, past the county line. I kept one hand on the heater, the other loose on the wheel. Didn't feel lonely exactly, just not ready to stop driving yet. Southbound beneath low clouds, empty highway shining dim, neon fading in the mirror, mile by mile. Southbound beneath low clouds, AM voices coming and going, like folks talking somewhere far off through motel walls. Truck stop lights still buzzing ahead, couple semis near the diesel pumps. I almost pulled in for coffee, then kept rolling past the sign. Tires hissing softly through rain, blue dial glow on my sleeve. The road stretched quiet for miles past sleeping storefronts and wire fences. Some nights stay with you a while without saying much at all, just cold air through a cracked window and old songs between the static. Southbound beneath the low clouds, nothing moving but the wipers and those faded yellow lines pulling me farther south. Low clouds over the highway, radio static breathing low. Rainwater sliding off the roof, ice machine humming through the wall. Somewhere behind the motel office, the screen door closed once, then nothing. The parking lot stayed wet all night, yellow light trembling in the puddles. I left the engine running low just to hear something besides myself. Coffee gone cold in the cup holder, cigarette burning near my hand, static moving through the radio dial, like somebody trying not to talk. A woman at the front desk locked up early, turn half the lights off before 3. Left a rag beside the soda machine, water still shining near the entrance. I thought about driving a little farther south, but the road already felt too long. So I sat there watching rain collect along the cracks in the asphalt. The parking lot stayed wet all night. Headlights came and disappeared. Blue vacancy glow across the windshield. Nothing really changed out there. Truck tires somewhere past the interstate, low and hollow in the dark. The radio stayed on till morning, quiet enough to almost disappear. Southbound past another closed down diner, fog hanging low beyond the sign. Baritone guitar through an old speaker, soft enough to sound half asleep. I caught my reflection in the rearview mirror, fluorescent light across my face, like somebody who kept missing exits and got used to it after a while. No big reason for staying there, no real reason to leave. Just rainwater near the curb and neon buzzing through the mist. The parking lot stayed wet all night, cold reflections under buzzing lights. Coffee rings beside the dashboard, smoke drifting near the cracked window. A truck stop radio somewhere nearby, playing songs nobody requested. I don't know what I was waiting for, but I stayed there anyway. Around 5, the rain finally stopped, but the asphalt still held the light, like the night wasn't finished yet. Soft tape hiss, distant highway noise, baritone guitar fading slowly into static. Fog got thicker west of Amarillo. Could barely see the shoulder line. Coffee sitting cold in the cup holder. Radio humming low beside me. Headlights headlights moving through the fog and disappearing again, like everybody out here tonight had somewhere else to be. Wipers dragging slow across the windshield, cigarette burning in my hand. There's a truck stop receipt beside the shifter from somewhere I don't even remember stopping at. Past a closed down tire station, one soda machine still glowing blue. Felt like the whole highway was half asleep, except for me and those 18-wheelers rolling through. And the headlights kept moving through the fog, slow and pale against the rain. Every mile started looking the same. Gas stations, vacancy signs, dark windows glowing faint. Nobody talking on the radio now, just static breaking through old songs. I kept driving south through all that weather, like I didn't know where else to go. Stopped a while outside a diner, fluorescent light buzzing overhead. Some tired waitress counting cigarettes near a stack of upside down chairs. Coffee tasted burnt and empty, heat barely working by the door. A man in an oil-stained denim jacket fell asleep 2 stools down from mine. Outside, fog rolling low across the parking lot, headlights drifting past the diesel pumps, then fading back into the dark. And the headlights kept moving through the fog like memories you almost recognize. Rain sliding sideways past the windshield, state line somewhere behind us now. There's a motel key still in my jacket, paint worn off the number, almost clean. Funny how you carry little things for years, even after they stop meaning anything. Around 3 a.m., the road got quiet all at once. No station lights, no headlights nearby, just tires hissing over wet asphalt. Thought about calling somebody, watch the signal disappear instead. Some nights don't feel lonely all at once, it just settles in slow inside your chest. Headlights moving through the fog, then nothing there again. Radio static, rain on glass, southbound till morning finally shows up. Engine humming low, wipers dragging slow, fog swallowing the highway whole. Plastic bag caught in the fence again. Ice machine humming through the dark. Like it's been awake all night too. Girl at the register killed the lights at 2. Didn't say much when I paid. Coffee tasted burned near the bottom. Still carried it out in the rain. My wipers dragging slow across the glass. AM static coming in and out. Truck headlights rolling through the fog and disappearing south. There's an old Coke machine by the side door, buzzing soft beneath the neon. Somebody left half a cigarette there, still smoking in the ashtray when I walk by. Wind pushing rainwater through the lot. My jacket smelling like wet smoke. I sat inside with the engine running, listening to the dashboard rattle. Some old song loose, cold wind behind the gas station. Southbound under low black clouds, radio singing through the static, quiet enough to feel alone with it. And every mile keeps stretching far, the past truck stops and faded signs, like this whole highway don't end nowhere after this time of night. Around 3:17 the rain got heavier, neon bending across the windshield. Coffee cup slid onto the floorboard when the thunder rolled somewhere west. Thought about calling somebody once, just to hear another voice, but the station dropped into more static, and I kept driving south. Pedal steel crying low through the speakers, cold air leaking through the door. Nothing moving out beyond the highway except those red tail lights in the storm. Cold wind behind the gas station, wet asphalt shining under weak white light. Old blue song floating through the dashboard like somebody barely holding on. And the farther down these roads I wander, the quieter the world becomes, till it's only tires on rainwater and fluorescent lights humming alone. Station sign fading in the mirror, wipers keeping tight time. Cold wind moving through the roadside grass. Radio still alive tonight. Tape hiss, engine hum, rain against the windshield. Southbound through the dark again. glass chair up on the table. Bartender wiping down the rail. Some old country station playing low. Through a speaker near the kitchen. I stood a second by the back door. Smoke hanging in the yellow light. Nobody talking much by then. Just ice melting somewhere behind the bar. My change folded in my shirt pocket. Keys cold from sitting on the counter. Rainwater moving through the parking lot. Past a rusted Chevrolet. The waitress shut the coffee machine on. One motel sign buzzing down the road. Somebody laughed out in the alley. Then the whole place went still again. Baritone blues after closing time. Low strings rolling through the dash. That old neon fading in the mirror like the night was finally giving out. Wipers dragging slow across the glass. Southbound under broken clouds. I cracked the window just enough to let the cold air move around. Gas station glowing at the corner. Blue light shaking on wet concrete. Radio static between two stations. Then an old voice drifting back in. I kept driving past the warehouses, past the last lit bar downtown. Engine humming soft beneath me. Street lights thinning mile by mile. Didn't feel lost, didn't feel alright either. Just tired enough to keep driving and piss. Highway noise, rain against the windshield. Nobody needing anything from me. Baritone blues after closing time. Empty road beneath the wires. Coffee smell still on my jacket. Neon sinking behind my eyes. Headlights moving through the drizzle. Low clouds over county lines. That old guitar riding beside me like it had nowhere else to go. AM radio glow. Rain on the hood. Another truck stop waiting somewhere further south. Rain moving sideways past the palms, radio low. Engine ticking after the drive. Poured in a little before sunrise, hands stiff from holding the wheel. There was water dripping off the payphone beside the ice machine. Coffee smelled burned near the counter, some old guy coughing in the back. Waitress looked half asleep herself, refilling ketchup bottles slow. I left my jacket in the truck cab, too tired to go back out. Just stood there warming my hands on a paper cup gone soft from steam. Across the truck stop lights, blue shining on the puddle ground. Semis rolling through the darkness without making much of a sound. The woman at the register asked if I was heading far. I said just south a little ways, and watched rain slide across the cars. Booth number 7 still had crumbs and a newspaper folded open. Someone left 2 quarters by the jukebox, like they meant to come back. My shoulders aching quiet ways after nights like this. Static drifting through the speakers between old country songs. There's a photograph inside the glove box, been riding there for months. I almost looked at it tonight, but let the dashboard stay shut. Rain across the truck stop lights, cold glow under buzzing signs. Coffee getting weaker by the minute, same as my eyes. Outside the highway kept moving like it always does. Wet tires humming through the dark, heading somewhere I'm not sure of. Nothing really happened here, that's probably why I stayed a while. Just rain, coffee, and the sound of trucks passing by. Pedal steel drifting softly. Sky turning gray above the station, fog sitting low near the road. I paid my tab and stepped outside into the smell of rain and diesel smoke. Truck stop lights fading behind me, radio static, southbound again. Rain pushing sideways past the windshield, radio station barely holding on. Somewhere west of Amarillo, the heater clicking every few miles. Tires hissing through Amarillo rain, 18-wheelers fading through the dark. Coffee cooling off between my hands, dashboard glowing weak against the storm. Stopped outside of Phillips 66, blue light buzzing over half the lot. Kid behind the register looked tired, didn't even look up when I walked in. Old man smoking by the ice machine, watching water gather near the curb. Nobody talking much tonight, just thunder somewhere past the highway signs. And the tires keep hissing through Amarillo rain, slow and steady through another county line. Wipers dragging time across the glass. Everything tonight moving half alive. Your voice still comes and goes inside the static, like a station drifting out somewhere at dawn. Some nights the road feels like forever, still I keep the engine on. Motel vacancy blinking through the fog, red letter shaking in a puddle down below. My jacket smelling like stale smoke again from that bar outside Tucumcari. Last stool turned upside down by the wall, bartender counting bills beneath the TV light. I can still hear quarters in the jukebox and somebody coughing near the door. Rainwater running off the hood, cold air leaking through the driver's side seal. Both hands resting loose along the wheel, like I've been driving all my life. Around 3:30, the storm got harder, road lines disappearing underwater, radio falling into static again. Just engine noise, tires in the rain, and those long black fields beside the highway. Tires hissing through Amarillo rain, mile markers passing slow beneath the storm. Nothing waiting past the state line, still I keep rolling toward the dark. Your memory sitting quiet in the passenger seat, like it never really left at all. And the highway stretching out forever, black and silver after midnight. Coffee gone cold in the cup holder, truck stop lights fading in the mirror. Rain still moving over West Texas, soft against the hood, not morning yet, not even close. Tires hissing through Amarillo rain, radio static drifting in and out, wipers dragging slow across the glass, southbound through the storm. Rain on the windshield, radio barely coming through. Southbound again, stopped outside Amarillo for coffee. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. Girl behind the counter looked tired too. Didn't say much when she handed me the change. My jacket still smelled like cigarette smoke from the bar back in Wichita Falls. Some old country station kept fading in and out, steel guitar buried under the static. I sat there longer than I meant to. Truck tires whispering down the highway, fog sitting low across the road. Ashtray full beside the shifter, cold air slipping through the cracked window. The heater came and went like it couldn't make up its mind. Every few miles another empty station, another voice talking through the dark. Somewhere near the state line, the road stopped feeling real. The radio stayed on till dawn, even when the signal got weak. Just low voices and old songs, keeping the silence off me. Rain dragging across the glass, dashboard glowing soft and blue. I don't think I was heading anywhere, I just couldn't pull over yet. Motel room facing the parking lot, vacancy sign buzzing outside the curtain, water dripping from the ice machine, somebody's TV bleeding through the wall. I left the lamp on beside the bed, boots still wet near the heater. The radio sitting quiet on the nightstand, static moving slow between songs. I kept listening like I knew the voice. Nobody sounds awake after 4 a.m. Not the truckers, not the radio hosts, not me. The radio stayed on till dawn. Soft static filling up the room, headlights moving past the curtains, then disappearing back into rain. Morning coming up somewhere gray, coffee gone cold by the bed, the sky getting lighter little by little, while the night refused to leave. Rain against the motel window, low signal drifting through the dark. The radio stayed on till dawn, and somehow that was enough. Static fading, truck tires far down the highway, rainwater moving through the parking lot. Southbound again. Stopped outside Amarillo for coffee, fluorescent lights humming overhead. Girl behind the counter looked tired too, didn't say much when she handed me the change. My jacket still smelled like cigarette smoke from the bar back in Wichita Falls. Some old country station kept fading in and out, the steel guitar buried under the stack. I sat there longer than I meant to. Truck tires whispering down the highway, fog sitting low across the road. Ashtray full beside the shifter, cold air slipping through the cracked window. The heater came and went like it couldn't make up its mind. Every few miles another empty station, another voice talking through the dark. Somewhere near the state line, the road stopped feeling real. Truck tires whispering down the highway. The bartender killed the neon sign. When table still covered in empty glasses. Some old country song fading through the wall, while the waitress counted tips alone. I pulled my jacket off the chair, still smell like smoke and fryer grease. Outside, rain sat on the parking lot, turning the asphalt silver underneath. A truck rolled slow past Route 9, throwing water across my boots. I stood there by the back door a while, listening to the ice machine buzz. The cab was cold when I got in, coffee cup sliding near the seat. I turned the key halfway first, just to hear something besides myself. Static drifting through the speakers, some late preacher from Abilene, then a worn-out guitar somewhere distant, barely making it through the noise. Static on the Texas radio, highway lines running pale and thin. Town disappeared behind the rain like it was never holding me there to begin with. And the night got quieter southbound, just tires singing over wet concrete. The radio cutting in and out like somebody too tired to keep talking. Dashboard glowing faded green, cigarette burning near the window crack. Past an empty diner off the highway, chairs already turned upside down. Somewhere near the county line, fog started lowering through the fields. I drove with one hand on the wheel and the heater breathing against my knees. The song came through for half a minute, then disappeared back into static still. I kept driving slower like I knew it would come back eventually. Static on the Texas radio, cold headlights stretching through the dark. Every mile loosening something loose inside me without saying much about it. And it felt lonely in a quiet way, not the kind that has to be fixed. Just another road after closing time, and another night driving through it. The station finally disappeared near dawn, but I never turned the radio off.